This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good.
I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all the things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
And it's a great day, and it's good to see you.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
Where every day is a great day, and it is good to see you. And even though I can't see you physically this morning, I can sense you. I can sense that you're right there. I am Gary Sutton, and welcome to the Gary Sutton Show here, our final day of the week on 1350 AM, 98.9 FM, WOYK, right here at Brooks Robinson Plaza in the heart of downtown York, or at Wellspan Park, where the Revs will play tonight at 6:10. Will be airtime. 6:30 will be game time. And Martin Tate sitting in with us this morning here, the sit-in host for Mark McKenzie, who's been on vacation all week long. He'll be back on Monday. And then I take a vacation starting on Wednesday. But Martin has done just a bang-up job all week long and has been a real pro, and really appreciate having him aboard. So I'm sucking up to him because I might have to use him again at some point in time, and that's the only reason I was being – no, actually, he's a really good guy and good guy to hang out with. So Martin with us this morning. All of our show brought to you by two main sponsors, Anstein and Sparler, attorneys at law, 117 East Market Street right here in York, and kindnessworldwide.org. Our text line is open today at 833-478-4729, all brought to you by the Back Nine. The Back Nine Golf, the newest indoor golf installation, located right out there at 259A Pauline Drive, next to the Giant in South York Plaza, where golf never sleeps. And you can check it out right now at theback9golf.com/York-PA for memberships, summertime memberships, and yes, various tournaments going on, like the U.S. Open that's really happening right now up at Shinnecock, delayed yesterday by some rain. They're going to be back on the course this morning, the guys that didn't finish yet, including the leader, Wyndham Clark, at 6:30 this morning. Nice to get up, and then I understand the tee times today will only be delayed by 15 minutes, even though they were not able to get the whole round in yesterday. So that's at Shinnecock, out in the Hamptons. Thank you very much, on Long Island, where they're going to have. That's going to be a fun tournament to watch this weekend, where they're having to water various things between rounds because it gets so dry out there. The wind's howling, and it's going to be these guys are going to be nuts by the end of the weekend. Although Wyndham Clark yesterday, 6 under par as he left the course, has a 4-shot lead in the first round. That's unheard of. You never do. He really separated himself, and he is a U.S. Open champion from a few years ago when I think he won at Los Angeles Country Club, if my memory serves me correctly. Anyway, great to be with you here on a Friday morning. Lots to get to today. Lots of things obviously happening here. Today is Juneteenth, okay? And we're going to talk more about that this morning. It is a national holiday. 2 days to Father's Day, 15 days to Independence Day. Father's Day just around the corner. And, of course, I thought Martin had a really good thought yesterday. Take your dad to a ball game on Sunday out here against the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. You can get your tickets at the Shipley Energy ticket office right across the way here, or go to YorkRevolution.com. Tickets are available right now. And what a great way to spend the day at a game. And I'm always reminded of the Field of Dreams where, Dad, you want to have a catch at the end? What guy isn't crying at that point? Yeah, right. Yeah, Dad, want to have a catch? And they have a catch to end the movie, and then the cars are coming. If you build it, they will come. I know it's soupy. But anyway, I remember having catches with my dad back in the day when I was a kid, and that was special because my dad was a principal, and he had to spend time with everybody else's kids during the day. And of course, when we got some time to spend with him at home, it was just a magic moment. And so my dad and that's how I learned how to play a little bit of baseball. My dad and I would have a catch. And, I always appreciated that. But with that, we introduced Martin Tate this morning. And Martin, today's Juneteenth. We'll talk about that in a moment because that's a huge day. But where slavery actually ended everywhere in Galveston, Texas on this date. And people wonder, well, why, we thought it would have ended with the, with the whole thing with Lincoln. But it actually ended this day because in the end of slavery was only carried out in states where you had the Union in charge. Well, in Texas, that was not the case, but Texas really wasn't involved in a lot of the fighting in the Civil War, and so a lot of people took their slaves there and kept them there, and then all of a sudden the Army shows up there on this date and declares in a proclamation that slavery is ended, and that was that. So that's kind of the thumbnail sketch right there. We'll talk more about it in detail later on. But what else do we have going on today, Martin? Good morning.
Good morning, Gary. Well, we also have going on today, Friday, June 19th, National Eat an Oreo Day.
Eat an Oreo. You can't just eat one Oreo.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're going for an Oreo, you're going for at least 3.
Yeah, when you're going for an Oreo, I mean, toss the word discipline out the window, because if you can eat just one and say, that's it, I'm a one Oreo man, I think it almost defies reason or description. I've known no one yet who could eat just one Oreo, and then I say, here, have another.
I'd go as far as saying that's not even discipline. That might just be strength to only get one Oreo.
Yeah, well, how about no Oreos? How about if I said to you, Martin,
well, that doesn't,
Martin, here's an Oreo. Or here's a deep fried Oreo from some local fair where they make it even worse. And I'd say, here, Martin, and you'd say, Gary, I'm going to eat my vegetables instead, because we found out that Martin is a vegetable eater this week. You say, here, Martin, do you want this carrot, or would you like an Oreo? A deep fried Oreo.
Oh, this
what would you do? That would be cruel. That's cruel and unusual.
I might stand there and think about it for a good 3 minutes.
Okay. All right. Good. So anyway, I know at least I know that your willpower would waver, and I could be the devil incarnate in that moment. But anyway, going on. What else do we have today?
We also have National Flip Flop Day, which I know you've said you are not a huge fan of.
Well, I wear them. I mean, I have them, and I wear them, but they're in short places where I don't have to walk real far. I'm not one of those guys that would make that as my daily footwear. Mm-hmm. I know there are people who do that, but I have to be comfortable. I need something around my feet.
Right.
I need something tied. I need to have a closure there. I need to have a finality to what I'm wearing that day. And if I feel like it might be going to come off because I kick a curb or something like that, it'll throw my entire day off. I mean, everything I do will have like an iffy kind of feeling to it. Did I go too deep on that?
No,
I don't know. But flip flops are like what you wear at home when you're, or what you wear around the pool, or that kind of thing. What I wear to go outside and take the trash down and come back up to the house. It's short bursts. It's short bursts for me. Yeah. Anyway, I've gone way into a lot of detail on a couple things this morning. Probably didn't require that, but there you go.
No, I think it's good.
Okay.
I think it's good.
That's what we do in this show. We make something sound a lot more important than what it really is sometimes, but go ahead.
We also have Ugliest Dog Day.
Ooh.
Which,
yeah.
Is there really an ugly dog?
What are those dogs that look like they got hit in the face with a pan? What are they? Are they Pekingese? Are they pugs or something like that? Like it look, the face is like it looks like someone hit it in the face with a pan.
You're probably thinking of a pug.
A pug, and it makes those nasty little sounds, and that's an ugly dog right there. Now, if you're a pug owner, I apologize, but it is a nasty looking little dog, and it sounds nasty. I mean, it's got that kind of little. Give me a good golden retriever. That's a beautiful dog. We used to have golden retrievers at one point in time, and or a nice spaniel of some kind. There's some nice dogs there, but these little nasty things with the pan smashed in the face, I don't know. No, I'm sorry. Or nasty little dogs, schnauzers are nasty little dogs sometimes too. They can be, and the problem with schnauzers is they're like cats with an attitude. They're close to cat. They're dogs, but they're only in name only. They're what do we call Republicans in name on rhinos? What would you call that? Sinos. Schnauzers in name only. Or dinos. That's what we call them. Dinos. Dog in name only. So there you go. We have a few of those. See what you get into on this show, Martin. It's just
You could never. It's never a dull moment.
No,
on the Gary Sutton show.
We can go. We can take things and extract. It's like savoring them, sitting on them for a moment, and just drawing out every bit of the essence of something that seems relatively useless, which they usually are. But go ahead.
Then we also have World Sauntering Day.
Sauntering. Let's see, sauntering. We just kind of wander about. Is that what a saunter is?
Yeah.
Or you casually go to some place. Like I'm going to saunter over to the golf course today.
I'd say you can take that either way.
You know, I'm going to saunter this morning. I'm going to saunter down to the New Eastern Market after the show. I love to walk through the market and saunter around. I don't have any particular place that I go. I have a couple of things that I tend to move toward, but I saunter there. I don't rush there. I'm not in a mad mood to get there. I'm not trying to sprint there. I'm not forcing my way there. I'm sauntering.
Because you know it's going to be there.
Yeah,
and you know once you get there, you're going to get something good.
Yeah, and then I'm going to saunter off to someplace else. I'm going to wander, it's kind of like guided wandering, and you're not in a hurry to go anywhere. You can stop and relax and savor the moment, suck in all of life and what it has to offer on that given day. Just saunter about.
So what you're saying is it's essentially wandering, but with a purpose.
Correct. Yeah, I'm eventually going somewhere. I'm just not in a hurry to get there. As opposed to my normal thing where I have to go get the duct tape, I'm going to the store, there it is, get it, cite it, bring it, go. See you later. I don't saunter in a grocery store. I don't generally saunter, although I've been known to saunter every now and then. I've been known to kind of go in and just wander around and look at some of the neat things I never looked at before, where I want to savor it, and maybe it's some show prep. I might be something I can talk about later on. So if you see me sauntering today, please do not disturb. I'll eventually get there. All right. So there you go. Anything else?
The final day we have on here is National Dry Martini Day.
I'm not a martini guy. I'm a whiskey sour guy if I drink anything.
Okay.
Yeah, and it has to be a certain way. I'm more toward the sour than I am the whiskey. I like a touch of whiskey, but I like the sour. The mix done that way. And there's a couple people that make it the way I like it, and there's a bunch of people that don't. There's some people put a whole lot of whiskey in it and sour. And then there's a whole lot of people put in sour and touch of whiskey. I want the whiskey sour. A little more whiskey, or a little more sour than, I should say, whiskey sour. A little more sour than whiskey.
That's like you're talking about how some people they'll put whiskey and then there's about that much sour.
Exactly.
One of my friends up at college, his go-to drink is a Jack and Coke, but it's
guys drink in college?
Well, we're 21.
Are you kidding me?
We're 21.
Are you kidding me? You drink in college? There's news for me. Oh,
yeah. Who's ever done that?
Who's never not?
We go to college to learn. Actually.
Oh, here we go. Cue the violins. Cue the background music, the B-roll, as Martin's going to college to learn. Okay, got it, Martin. And you go to Penn State, right?
No, East Stroudsburg.
Oh, East Stroudsburg, right. East Stroudsburg, and you're right there on the New York border. You're about, 60 miles from New York City or so, give or take a couple miles. Yeah, okay.
I could walk to the New Jersey border from campus.
Understood. And probably have several times. I never know. I know. No, Martin's a good guy. So that's a plethora of things there, and we haven't even really gotten started on the show. We got a lot more coming your way here. It is Father's Day weekend coming up. Hope you have Dad somewhere in the crosshairs of caring over the weekend. And as we said, maybe go out to a ball game or you got something else, but don't get him something useless. Don't get a dear occupant gift. Okay, like one of these gifts, like here's a new keychain. Yeah, please go a little beyond. All right, go a little beyond. Do dads like cards? I think dads like a little card now and then, a little something for the effort, right?
I think it's also if you throw in a nice little note on the inside as well. Just tell him how much you appreciate everything he does for you. I feel like that goes a long way.
Look at that. You're kind of close to your dad, right? I mean, you spend some time with your dad.
Very.
You've mentioned him several times this weekend, and So inside the card, to whom it may concern, Happy Father's Day. Yeah, it sounds good, doesn't it? I think we can do better than that. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Back with more right after this. Welcome back. The Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Is that the Black Eyed Peas?
Yes, it is, Gary.
There it is. Just getting started here. Yeah, on the Gary Sutton Show on a Friday morning. By the way, I saw something here on the backlinegolf.com/York-PA. A few Father's Day bundles are remaining. Get Dad something he won't lose in the sock drawer this year. 3 hours of play on the back nine. A back nine hat, ball, marker, towel, and sleeve of golf balls, all for just $150. And you can check out the backninegolf.com/local/York-PA for those packages. The back nine where golf never sleeps. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. And I got to tell you, I just read this story, and I did not realize this happened yesterday. The U.S. Open is going on at Shinnecock Hills up in the Hamptons out on Long Island. And Keith Mitchell, a guy he's been around the lead from time to time. I don't know how many times he's really won. Keith Mitchell made golf history yesterday. Now, you think about 126 years the U.S. Open has been running. And Keith Mitchell became the very first yesterday to do something in the golf tournament that has never been done. And here's what it was. He had an unprecedented single-round comeback where he is the first guy to ever shoot in the 40s and the 20s in the same round on a 9. So, golf's divided into 18 holes, then divided into 9s. Well, he started on the back 9, and he shot a 41, which is terrible for pro golfers. He was 6 over. Okay, so what does he do? He goes out on the back 9 and he sets the course record on the back 9 with the front 9, which was his back 9, with a 29, a 41-29 for a 70. Can you imagine that? 41 in the front, which was the back 9, his front 9, and 29 the back, which was the front 9, which is his back 9. Okay, and came out of there with a 70 and is in the top 15. Going into today's second round. So Keith Mitchell, a guy to keep your eyes on today, but set a record yesterday, the 40s and the 20s. Can you imagine shooting around in the 20s? Okay. I had a great round yesterday. I went out, and I yesterday played with some friends, and it was windy, and I started out with 2 bogeys yesterday, and I thought, my friend Wayne Jacobs and my friend Tommy Wolf, and I was playing over at Grandview Golf Club. And I thought, okay, I was hitting the ball good, but I was 2 over after 2 holes. I ended up shooting 2 under par. I shot 70. I beat my age, which is kind of one of the things that you like. So I was 2 under par. I had 5 birdies and an eagle yesterday. It was kind of crazy, but I got going, and it was one of those days that you don't get that often where you feel like you're out for a walk and you happen to have your golf clubs with you. And everything was working. And I missed 2 5-foot birdie putts in a row, which makes it even worse. It could have been a better round, but I was 4 under on the one side and 2 over on the other side there, Martin. So I'm bragging a little bit. It was my own personal U.S. Open yesterday, but I was having fun with that, and it was a good time. So every now and then you have something good that happens, and there you go. Let's see what else we have going on here today. Here's what we're spending on Dad for Father's Day this year. I'm looking out for you, dads, okay? Father's Day is Sunday, which we've already laid out here and chronicled. So if you haven't made plans or gotten a gift yet, it's go time, okay? It's go time. Now, have you gotten your dad a gift for Father's Day yet, Martin?
Yeah, so I know I mentioned earlier in the week when I was at Pocono Raceway on Saturday,
that's right. I
picked us up some souvenirs, and those are now doubling as his Father's Day present.
Oh, okay. So now, if you're not focused on doing it for Father's Day, does it count? That's the big question here. I mean, I don't mean to lay a guilt trip on you, but
see, I get that. It's just also at the same time,
yeah.
I don't often end up spending money on my dad. Not that I don't want to, but oftentimes not that he lets me.
Okay. All right. So I'm not going to go deeper into that because I don't want to get you in trouble, and I don't want you walking out of here today with tears. Father's Day spending is expected to reach a record $27.9 billion this year. The previous record of $24 billion was set last year. Now, is that because of inflation, or is that because we care more about Dad? I'm going to venture that it's more about inflation. I'm just saying that we have to, we're buying less, but it costs more. Overall, 77% of people plan to celebrate Father's Day this year. That means 23% of you slugs out there are not doing anything for Father's Day. And shame on you. if you're not doing anything for Dad's Day, now there could be reasons for that. Dad might not be here anymore or whatever, or maybe you had a bad experience but 23% are not celebrating Father's Day this year. And they expect to spend $226.58 an average, up from the previous record of $199.38 last year, $199.38. Are you spending $226.58 on your dad this year, Martin? Are you?
I'm not sure I have $226.
Okay, all right. Well, I like your honesty. I like your honesty here. Although after this week, you'll be rolling in cash. I know, being a guest producer here in the Gary Sutton Show, because you know the luxury that we spare no expense, none. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, number 3, the top people will buy gifts for are a father or stepfather, a husband, a son, brother, friend, and grandfather. All right, so that's who we're spending it on. And the most popular gifts people are buying are, what do you think the number 1 gift would be?
The go-to mug.
No.
Okay.
No. Mug is not on here.
That was my answer, but I'm happy to hear it's not on.
And if you are going to go to a mug, expect here's the number 2 word, smash. Okay. If you're going to Dad's number 1 greatest dad in the world, cost me 59 cents to get this at Spencer's. No. It's actually a greeting card. A nice greeting card for Dad. Okay. Number 2, clothing is a big item. You get a good sports shirt for Dad. Give me a nice golf shirt. I'm kind of a happy guy.
I do think I have done that before.
There you go. A special outing. Now, you've suggested a ball game. I like that. A special outing. Gift cards. Gift cards are always good. They're a little thoughtless in the sense you're saying, I'll go out. I'm at the grocery store. Yeah, I can buy this gift card. Here, I'll get him an Amazon card. He can spend it on whatever he wants. Now, on one side of that, you say, well, that's really nice because now he's got the options and open-ended part. On the other side, it's like it's too easy. There's nothing much to that. I mean, it's just, okay.
Yeah, and then there's like me as a college student, like sometimes I ask for just those Amazon gift cards or just Visa gift cards because, what if I want to go ahead and put that towards buying one of my books for next semester?
Oh, gosh.
Which I actually do. Let me throw that out there. I do actually still buy the books.
Are you for real? I mean, you're like the model person here. You don't drink at college. You study all the time. You're never out, doing whatever. Okay, but I like that. I digress. And the last one is personal care items. Hey, Dad, look, I got you a new can of Barbasol. Listen. I think that is that's the bottom of the barrel. You don't need to do that. Dad can do that on his own and probably will, much like you, wants to have that choice. I don't want someone buying that stuff for me. I will take care of that myself. Thank you very much.
Hey, Dad, here's a random razor I found on Amazon.
Yeah, I found this on the street, Dad. I thought I might like it. Yeah, really? One of those razors that you could take a can lid and probably do better than that razor. Some of these ones, and I have a certain kind that I have to use. My skin is not receptive to most razors, but there's one kind that I use that I like, and so I don't want anybody else buying that stuff. Let me handle that. Thank you very much. The other things on Dad's Day, maybe a possibility. Nice little card, little thought. That's all I need. I'm set. Other than that, now with all that having been said. We turn here in just a moment with Ted Check, who is our information officer here in York County, also the author of Saving the Beast, where as a recovering reporter, he is trying to save the world of media. And Ted will talk about that. He's also information officer here for York County, but he'll get into the UFC coverage at the White House last week by the press. He looks back on the week in the press, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 6:30. welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. It is a Friday morning. Martin Tate on his last day of this stint here on the Gary Sutton Show as a sit-in producer. And he is, I tell you, we have not had one hiccup all week long. Now, I shouldn't say that because like waving the red flag in front of the bull here.
I have 2.5 hours, Gary. Let's not
right.
chance it.
I know. The announcer's hex that you can put on someone. But anyway, Martin has done a great job this week. I don't want to say too much because his head's going to explode. He'll start getting, he'll start asking for extra contracts. There'll be bonuses built in. I don't want to get him all swelled up here. But he's done a better than admirable job this week. No, he's done a really good job. I have to say it. Up next, Ted Check, who spent 25 years as a newspaper reporter and established himself as one of the mainstream media's harshest critics when he wrote a book about the broken relationship between the media and the American public. In Saving the Beast, a recovering reporter reflects on America's broken media and how to fix it. He also is the information officer here in York County and a good friend, and he's here on the Gary Sutton Show on a Friday morning. Good morning, Ted. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. I'm doing great. How you doing?
Really good. You don't get that kind of introduction anywhere but here. I mean, I'm telling you what, when you get done with an introduction here, your head ought to just be swelling. You ought to be going, wow, do I feel better about myself already?
That was fantastic, Gary.
I could pretty much tell. I could tell you were feeling great. Anyway.
I feel like I'm in the octagon and, you're Bruce Buffer and you just announced my name as the next, fighter in the cage.
Ted Check. Yeah. So anyway, speaking of the cage, the UFC thing last week, I was one of those guys. They had the thing at the White House, and of course, the big UFC thing out in front of the White House. Not a big fan. Wasn't a big fan of that. I'm sorry, color, and for not for any political reasons or anything. I just didn't like the look. I don't know. It's like I wouldn't like it if Trump likes to put his name on everything. If he put Trump over top of the White House, I wouldn't like that. But he put this out in front of the White House, and I guess a good time was had by all after the rain got done. But you wanted to talk a little bit about this morning about how the press kind of handled that. As kind of a member of the press, I don't really consider myself press, but as kind of a outside member of the press, I didn't like the look as a citizen, but it was more just me. That's my preference. It was not that I hated the fact they were doing that or anything like that. I just thought it was different. But the press kind of went to work on it, as they do on so many things regarding Trump. Talk about that a little bit this morning.
Okay, but first of all, Gary, I don't know if you saw this one photo that was taken where the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds did the flyover.
Yeah.
Before the fight started. So it's the flyover, and then the White House and the Octagon, and I mean that. I don't know. I gotta say that to me.
So you're taking the other point of view on that.
That's kind of the epitome of patriotism.
I respect that. I mean, like I said, that I admit to being. What would I say? Very conservative in how I would look at things at the White House. Like nothing else need impede the grounds of the White House. It's the White House. That's kind of me, and that's the old history guy. I mean, that's where that comes from. So it's not. And I recognize we're in a new age. I mean, I'm recognizing that all the time, that there are a lot of things now that define patriotism or define, how people see things other than the way I look at it, although it's hard for me to understand that. No, but I'm kidding. But the point being, and I'm kind of, that's where that comes from. It's not anything else. But I respect the idea of what you're saying there. It makes some sense, okay?
Well, and they've had to be fair, they've had other events on those grounds, whether it's a Pride Day or whether it's an Easter egg hunt. They've had other activities, other events on those grounds. But getting to what you were talking about here with the media, they generally did not enjoy it. And I read a couple accounts of people who actually embedded themselves in the crowd, especially the fan fest. So there was only about 4,000 seats on the White House lawn, and then they had this other kind of spillover area for the common folk. And so they were able to watch the action on some big TVs. And, but generally the press did not like it. Let's see here. There were a couple things. They thought it was cheesy. One article said it, UFC 250, the extravaganza of squirting blood and patriotic kitsch. That was, they got really creative with their writing. One writer said, this is for Slate.com, that first quote was from The Atlantic. This one from Slate, it's a spectacle intended to enrage the libs, I guess those who are left-leaning or liberal, while further bending our country's psyche toward war. I think he's overthinking it just a bit. Really,
right.
The president is good friends with Dana. How it all came about was the president is good friends with Dana White, who is the president of the UFC.
Right.
They're very good friends going back. It goes back decades, their relationship. And this was also, so it was a 250, this is the 250th birthday of the United States coming up, and also we have the president's 80th birthday.
Right.
So that's really what it was about. I don't know.
Yeah.
People are really, really reaching and reading into this. But I think, now maybe you might call this a stretch, but you know how we say here in America, we got apple pie, mom, Chevrolet, and baseball. Is the UFC replacing baseball as the premier American sport?
That might be a stretch at this point. Yeah, I saw where White said that he didn't want to do any more outdoor fights because of all the uncontrolled variables, like rain, for example. And he said he and President Trump had discussed doing a fight for troops in 2027, but coordinating with the military to have fights on military bases does take time. He also said he lost a lot of money on this, and then he also pushed back again at people like me. Mine was not so much of a blanket thing. He said there were critics who didn't want to see a UFC fight at federal landmarks and questioned the legal legitimacy of the promotion to do so. It led to an injunction lawsuit that failed Friday, allowing the news conference at the Lincoln Memorial on Friday and the fights on the South Lawn. And White said, blank 'em. That was his thought about the media. He said, it's like when they were asking about the lawsuit, I really don't give a blank. He said, I got lawyers. They'll figure that out. I don't care. But he basically said he doesn't think he's going to do something like that outside again. But you're right. I mean, and I think there's also one of the things that I sensed last week for a lot of the media was, aside from the faux outrage, the fake outrage, this idea that something like that is beneath us. That, it's UFC, it's a fight, it's not really something that we ought to be espousing here in this country. And yet, you got a president here who has broken a few molds along the way, who is the ultimate promoter. So, I mean, it was not totally unexpected that something like this would be carried out that day. And, I guess the jury's still out on how well it went, but what the heck? It was something new and something different, and like I said, I don't have any outrage about that. It just was something. It wasn't my bag, but
Sure.
All right, yeah. But final thoughts on that this morning?
Yeah, a couple things. So first of all, the UFC or its parent company TKO, they footed the entire bill.
They did. You're right.
$60 million. So it didn't cost the taxpayers anything. They took a $60 million hit, although they may have made some of it back in advertising, but they took the hit. So that's the one thing. And yeah, I mean, you're right. It does break the mold, but I mean, why is and this is an age-old debate, or at least it's been a debate ever since the UFC came to prominence. Why is boxing acceptable, but the UFC is not?
No, I know.
If you staged a boxing match, a boxing event, would that be okay? I mean, you can look at it from many angles. And I think you can argue that it's a safer sport than boxing as far as CTE is concerned.
I think UFC has taken over boxing too. I mean, what was the last boxing match you really paid any attention to? I mean, since Muhammad Ali and even a few people after that. I mean, boxing is like yesterday's event. I mean, it's not the in thing anymore.
Well, there's no more Mike Tyson.
No.
And so the most popular boxer right now is a guy who used to be a podcaster, Jake Paul.
Oh,
He's kind of considered a laughingstock if you're a purist in boxing, and he's the most popular guy out there.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's kind of a niche operation now, whereas it used to be front and center. I mean, if there was a boxing match coming up with, let's say, Ali and Frazier, I mean, it was closed circuit. You had to pay to get to see it. I mean, it was a whole deal. Now it's like, really? What am I paying to see? Am I going to go see a Sugar Ray Leonard type boxer? No, I'm not. You have to really be just a fan to really go and hone in on that anymore. Whereas it used to capture the public's imagination if you had Ali and Frazier fighting at Madison Square Garden or something like that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, those were just amazing. And you're right. They were part of. They were part of America. They were part of. I mean, it was even a global phenomenon.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
It was part of culture.
Yeah.
It was a cultural thing.
I mean, I used to sit and listen on the radio for some guy to report on what happened during a round in the Thrilla in Manila, or like the Rumble in the Jungle and things like that.
Well, you're going back a ways.
Oh, I'm telling you,
you're going back.
I go back. I mean, that's like 74 for heaven's sakes. I'm listening to hear if Ali, hangs in there against George Foreman, and so.
Wow.
But that was it. But the UFC stuff is new to me, and I mean, I understand it. I get it. It's not my cup of tea, and yet at the same time, there it was last week, and an individual promoter went out and promoted it, and but it's hard anymore for the media to really report on anything like that. If there's something with Trump, it is hard for them to report objectively on.
There you go. That's the bottom
happened.
line, really.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Yeah, they can't remove their disdain. They can't just look at it objectively and say, was this a good thing? Was this not a good thing?
Right.
Because he's involved. You're totally correct on that.
See, that's what I said at the beginning. I said I didn't like it, but it had nothing to do with Trump. It had nothing to do with any of that. It had to do with the fact that it's not my cup of tea. But that doesn't mean that it's wrong, and it doesn't.
Well, Gary, we'll have to get together. We'll get together, and I'll educate you on the sport. And
I've sensed that
a better understanding.
Yeah, I've sensed that I've opened up a new area of conversation for us this morning here, and probably a dinner involved. But that you're concerned that maybe I need to know more about this, and I'll defer to that because you're my friend, and then we'll do that. But anyway,
do it.
No, but in all seriousness, if I was a reporter, I would sit down right now. If I wanted to truly, going to the Saving the Beast kind of idea from your book, I would say, okay, how do I report on this? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take Trump out of it. Boom. I'm going to take any personalities out of it. Boom. And now I'm going to report on what this event was at this place, okay, and try to do it as objectively as I can. Would I be fulfilling some of the tenets of Saving the Beast?
Well, that's a question. Yes, I think so. Absolutely, 100%. It's about true journalism. It's about looking at things objectively and being fair, just letting your audience decide. Just laying everything out there for people.
Being an information officer, so to speak. That's kind of where I would go, and the kind of place you have to go on a regular basis. So, hey, always good talking to my friend. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning, and looking forward. Now, I will not be here next week. You'll have to deal with one of my people sitting in next week, but you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I don't think you'll get nervous.
Okay. Yeah. We always do well with other folks. Yeah. So it'll be all right. It won't be you, but it'll be all right.
Well, that's true. But anyway, no. Hey, have a great weekend, my friend, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon. Okay, take care. Ted Check here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK is going to educate me on some UFC stuff a little bit later on. We'll take a break. We'll come right back. It is 6:50. Welcome back. The Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Kevin Smith just came in here a little early, and I was gushing about my golf round yesterday, which I normally don't do because there's not a lot of room to gush. But it was one of those things. Anyway, Juneteenth. Need to talk about that because Juneteenth. A lot of you don't really understand what that's about. Some people say, "Oh, it's just another one of those woke holidays." It's not really. It isn't really. It really does have a legit kind of meaning. And for a lot of people, they've been celebrating this for a long time. It's just basically been a relatively recent national holiday, but it marks June 19th of 1865 when basically what happened on that day. Federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, to take control of the state and ensure that all enslaved people be freed. And you say, well, I thought that happened with the Emancipation Proclamation back in like 1863 before the Battle of Antietam. No, it did not. Not in all states. Only in states where Union was in control of those states, okay? So the troops' arrival came a full 2.5 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation brought forth by Lincoln. Juneteenth honors the end to slavery in the United States and is considered the longest-running African-American holiday. A federal holiday since 2021, relatively recent, as we said. It occurs on Friday, June 19th in 2026 this year. Although Confederate General Robert E. Lee had surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia, in April of 1865, slavery had remained relatively intact in Texas. That is until U.S. Major General Gordon Granger stood on Texas soil and read General Orders Number 3. General Orders Number 3, which reads, "The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free." The Emancipation Proclamation, issued by President Abraham Lincoln on January 1st of 1863, had established that all enslaved people in Confederate states in rebellion against the Union shall be thenceforward and forever free. But in reality, the Emancipation Proclamation didn't instantly free any enslaved people. The proclamation only applied to places under Confederate control and not to slave-holding border states or rebel areas already under Union control. However, as Northern troops advanced into Confederate South, many enslaved people fled behind Union lines. In Texas, slavery had continued as the state experienced no large-scale fighting in the Civil War or significant presence of Union troops. Many enslavers from outside the Lone Star State had moved there as they viewed it as a safe haven for slavery. And so after the war came to a close in the spring of 1865, General Granger's arrival in Galveston that June signaled the freedom of more than 250,000 enslaved people in Texas, many of whom had come there from other states to escape the idea of, that slavery wasn't legal there anymore. Celebrations broke out among newly freed black people, but emancipation didn't happen overnight for everyone. In some cases, enslavers withheld the information until the harvest season was over. Yeah, they waited till after the harvest season. Oh, by the way, we got this order. You're free now after the harvest season, because then they wanted to bring in their crops. That December, slavery in America was formally abolished with the adoption of the 13th Amendment. And then, of course, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments dealt with slavery and citizenship and all those kind of things. In 1979, Texas became the first state to make Juneteenth an official holiday. That was in 1979. Several others followed suit over the years. Decades later, in June of 2021, Congress passed a resolution establishing Juneteenth as a federal holiday. President Joe Biden signed it into law on June 17th of 2021. And there's a little history of why Juneteenth is a very special day. Didn't you like that, Martin? You get a little bit of background on that?
I knew a little bit before, but I definitely have learned something today now.
Well, and as you should here on this show. I mean, because it's what we do. We do that all the time. Let's see. What are the big things we had this week? We had an officer-involved shooting. New York City police and emergency crews responded to a shooting on West Philadelphia Street that left one man injured and resulted in a dog being killed by police this week. We have the York Revolution forfeited their game last night. That was big news. I did have an event here at the stadium. I'm not sure how many people were out, but we did have it open, and people were out here for Pride Night. We may talk a little bit about that later on this morning, too. Tonight, the Revolution are back in action against Southern Maryland, against the Blue Crabs. Hopefully, it can de-picture the Blue Crabs after they laid 24 runs on us a couple nights ago. York High football coaching change. Russ Stoner was let go as the York High head coach. Notable because he had been there for 11 years. The guy has had a winning record during that time. I think 64-22, or 64-42, excuse me, if memory serves, roughly that. 64-42-1, maybe. But Coach Stoner, I've known a lot of coaches. This guy was dedicated to kids, dedicated to helping people not only at York High, but also in the area. And so he is out of a job. And so there you go. All of that this week on the Gary Sutton Show. Coming up next, Kevin Smith joins us from kindnessworldwide.org. He's the chief kindness chaser. And we'll track down some kindness stuff from this week, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 7 o'clock.
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good.
I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all the things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
Here's Johnny.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
Just Jack Nicholson being Jack Nicholson in The Shining. Here's Johnny when he's whacking through the door there to get to his wife with an axe. And, yeah. And who hasn't had that feeling? No, I did. I'm kidding. Welcome. And this is Gary here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK on a Friday morning at 7:05. This hour being brought to you by Pappy's Q. And I want to tell you what, for the best in barbecue and seafood, 35A North Main Street, right there in Jacobus, Pennsylvania, just behind Rutter's there in the shop at. Pappy's Q is ready to enthrall your taste buds. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Anything from onion petals to wings to all-you-can-eat wings to all-you-can-eat shrimp to wonderful soups and chilies to platters where you can have a choice of 2 barbecue or 3 barbecue meats like brisket, pork, sausage, chicken legs, smokehouse chicken, burnt ends, ribs, a half-rack rib dinner, whole rack rib dinner or surf and turf with brisket and lobster tail, ribs and crab legs. My goodness! It's all right there for you at Pappy's Q. And don't forget to ask about their Piggy Mac, pork mac and cheese, moo mac, crabby mac, lobster mac, crawfish mac. They've even got these great sandwiches, pulled pork, brisket, burnt ends, smoked sausage, smokehouse chicken, and po' boys like shrimp, crawfish, alligator, oyster, if you want to try something new there. All right there at Pappy's Q. And don't forget, they also have breakfast platters as well and bowls, kids' meals. They're all right there at 35A North Main Street in Jacobus, open tonight, 4 to 8 p.m., and tomorrow they'll be open 10 to 8, Sunday 10 to 7, and then back on Monday 4 to 8, and it goes on and on. And here's a kick. If you come out here to Wellspan Park tonight, Pappy's is here too. It's everywhere. Yeah, you come inside the gate, you go to the left, you go down, you can check out the Pappy's Taste right here at Wellspan Park. And when you go up to the counter, say, Gary Sutton sent me on a mission to have a great taste. And you'll have that at Pappy's Q, my favorite barbecue place of any place, the proud sponsor of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show, along with our premier sponsors, Kindness Worldwide. You can find them at kindnessworldwide.org. Be the good, see the good, go the extra mile. That's what Kevin says all the time. I have it committed to memory. It's in my heart, my soul. And also, Ann Stein and Sparler, attorneys at law, 117 East Market Street right here in York. Give them a call today at 717-846-8811. Also, you can go to our question today at Facebook at Gary Sutton Show. The 3 most important qualities that a great dad has to have, in your opinion. You can think about your dad, whether he's here now or not. You can think about that, and that's right there today. I'd like to see some of your thoughts on that today. A very positive thing with Father's Day coming up on Sunday. So we've got that there for you as well. And so much more. And our back 9 text line is open today at 833-478-4729. You can also tell me about what makes a dad special, in your opinion. What made your dad special? I had a father, he died back in 1991 at the age of 69, and I still miss him every day. My dad, Charles, he was a principal at Northeastern High School for 23 years. And but my dad was a very deep, thoughtful kind of person. Unlike me, very shallow and if I were 1/10 the man my dad was, I would be very, very happy. But my dad was a really neat guy, and he could appeal to people whether they were in a suit or in a flannel shirt or whatever. He could meet people on a stream, in a hunting camp, or behind a desk. He was that kind of person. And the one picture I have at home of my dad that hangs in our back room is my dad holding a loaf of sourdough bread. My dad's favorite thing was to take this sourdough bread culture, which, by the way, when he first came up with it, it was growing all up and down the shelves, to my mother's chagrin in the house. But he used to make sourdough bread and take it around to people's houses during Christmas season. And that was his a lot of people send cards and stuff. That was his card. And he would go around, and many times he had a card that he'd fill out with people and write a little note, but he would take that around to people. He was so proud of that. And I still remember that to this day on Father's Day and every other day. With that, we turned to Kevin Smith this morning. There, a kind act to kind of introduce you this morning, Kevin. Kevin, the Chief Kindness Chaser with Kindness Worldwide. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great, Gary. Well, happy Good Friday and happy Father's Day weekend to fathers everywhere and also father figures.
Yes.
And there are many of them, so we celebrate them this weekend.
What is it about dads? I mean, we think about Mother's Day. Mother's Day, we make a big to-do about it. Dad's Day, not quite as much, although we appreciate dads and what they do. Obviously, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for our dads, right? I mean, there you go. I mean, they did have a role to play. Even if
it does take two to tango.
It does take two to tango, but they at least had half the part of tangoing on that. And, what are your thoughts on a Father's Day weekend here?
Well, when I think of my father, I mean, my biological father has passed away a number of years ago, and I have a stepfather who's very much a real father. And I think of just the quiet presence, just knowing that they're always there. I think of my stepfather, and he does all the little things that maybe in his mind are little things, but they're really big things to my sister and I, and how he helps, my sister lives alone on the farm in Fawn Grove. We have a family farm, and he's always helping her out and doing a lot of chores. And, of course, he loves dog sitting, our dog Bella, when he and I are out and about. And just the presence, knowing that they're always there. You can always count on them, just a phone call away, a few miles away. But whatever you need, always happy to step up. It's really more the soft leadership, if you will, in this case. But I think father figures everywhere are people we can often hopefully look up to as mentors, and we can learn from their example. And and again, it's just not literally fathers, but also father figures. There's many mentors out there who really play that role for many people, because there are those who don't grow up with a father, but they're still looking for that leadership and those father figures in their lives.
I think that's a great point that you make, because father figures. I've had a couple of those along the way for me, and in addition to my dad, who I love dearly, that I looked at, and I said, there's some wisdom there to be garnered. And I think a lot of my dad was one of those quiet kind of people where my dad could sit in a room and there'd be a big meeting going on. Everybody be voicing their opinion. He would wait until the end. And he was one of those guys who could concisely wrap up the meeting at the end, capture what was said, and put it all together. And you say, oh, hadn't thought about that. He was very good at that. He was very good at that. He was also very prescient. He had the ability to kind of look out and see what was coming on a situation and put it together before you got there. He was pretty good that way. But I think back. I find myself this year for some reason thinking back a lot more than I normally do about Father's Day, and just kind of remembering some of those things.
Yeah, some of my fondest memories of my biological father, he was not very athletic, so to speak, but I was, and played baseball and Little League, and I just remember, always saying, let's play catch. And he would pitch to me, and I would bat, and just those things, knowing that it wasn't his comfort zone, so to speak. But there's a lot of fond memories there, and he went the extra mile to kind of get out of his comfort zone because he wanted to be in my world, and my parents unfortunately had separated when I was young, but he was there as well in his own way, and so many fond memories of my biological father, but also my stepdad, who I love very much and continues to be very much present in my life, and I'm very blessed for that.
You were talking about that, and let me see if I can grab this real quickly. I don't know if I can. Here it is.
Hey, Dad? You want to have a catch?
Remember that?
Field of Dreams. What a great scene. And when I watched that movie, and even when I saw it the first time, it did bring back memories of my dad.
Oh.
And, there's something special about, of course, baseball, Americana, but something about just having a catch with your dad, and that scene, I get a little emotional just thinking about it and hearing it and reliving those memories from my childhood.
Oh, I remember. I cried like a baby at that scene. I'm thinking like my father had passed away, and I'm thinking I never had enough catches with my dad. I wish I had more catches with my dad, and I think there's an awful lot of guys that do the same thing. Women do not relate to that scene as well, because that's not something that most women do. Now, they're not to say there's not some that didn't have a catch, but want to have a catch. And the whole movie is about him coming back to his dad. And nobody realized that until the end. And you go, hey, want to have a catch? Yeah.
And I think it's more than just throwing the pitch and having a catch. It's the connection,
right? And
it's really hard to put into words. But that scene, as it did for me, it certainly did for you. It brings back those memories of that connection that's really impossible to put into words. It's a feeling you have and the fond memories that you have, but nothing quite like having a catch with your dad.
Kevin, we look back on the week a lot of times with you through the lens of kindness. And this has been an interesting week here, nationally, internationally, but also right here in York County and obviously right here. As you look back on the week, are there some things that kind of jump out at you as we look at the world through the lens of kindness this morning?
Well, I think more recently, obviously, was the York Revolution game and Pride Night and what occurred there. And I got the email from the York Revolution on Wednesday night late, and then my first reaction is, well, that'll be front page news and it'll make national news.
Right.
And of course, it was.
Right.
And and I think there's a temptation to take this, and it can either take us down two paths. It can divide us or it can bring us together. And unfortunately, I think the media is very quick about making headlines on things that, yes, is newsworthy, sure. Well, what about the things that should make headlines that weren't, like Pack the Park and how the players embrace that celebration and how the community comes together? And so I think sometimes we just got to be cognizant of what we read and what we watch and look at it through a lens of kindness. And there are going to be those that are going to try to make it about unkindness. But I look at it in terms of a different lens. I think we should always admire those who stand on principle.
Right.
And we may disagree with it, but the players stood on principle. That takes courage. There were certain things against their beliefs, and we should respect that. I think the term condemn that is too strong in my view. But the same token, I think in a difficult situation, I think the players, stood up for their principles, but also so did the team, so did the York Revolution, and how they handled it. A difficult situation, but I think that through a lens of kindness, I think that's how we should look at it in terms of respecting those who stand on principle. I think there's too many who don't. And they can be, go down a road where they look at societal pressures and they conform, and often that can create issues. And so we may disagree with it, but we can look at it through a lens of respect and kindness. What I'd like to see is this community come together. Let's make a statement. Let's not go down the path of division. Let's pack the park on August 20th. Let's change the narrative and let's show the world how good this community is. But there's always those who are very quick to make York headlines for all the wrong reasons. Let's give them all the right reasons to make headlines where they won't have any choice but to cover the good.
Couldn't agree with you more. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We'll have some Fox Sports, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about some other things here the past week through the lens of kindness. All here with Kevin Smith, Chief Kindness Chaser for Kindness Worldwide, right here on WOYK.
Fox Sports Update.
One team from North America has already clinched a spot in the knockout stage of the World Cup. The USA could be next. If the U.S. defeats Australia today, the Americans would clinch a spot in the knockout round of 32. U.S. coach Mauricio Pochettino said if star Christian Pulisic is unable to play today because of a calf injury, he will be ready for the next match. Pulisic suffered his injury in training ahead of last week's opener versus Paraguay, when the 27-year-old was subbed out at halftime in a 4-1 victory. Today's game for the U.S. in Seattle kicks off 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox Network TV. Pre-game coverage starts 2 hours earlier. Last night in Guadalajara,
Mexico have beaten South Korea by 1-0. Mexico have won Group A.
On Fox TV, Mexico, the first team to advance to the knockout stage, 1-0 over South Korea. Canada scored its first ever World Cup win, a dominant shutout, 6-0 over Qatar, behind a hat trick from Jonathan David. Switzerland beat Bosnia-Herzegovina 4-1. Czechia and South Africa played a draw. After USA-Australia today, Scotland will face Morocco in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Brazil plays Haiti tonight in Philadelphia. First 3 matches today on Fox TV. In Santa Clara, California, 11 p.m. Eastern tonight on FS1. Turkey takes on Paraguay. Golf, 126th U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills on eastern Long Island. The first round getting completed this morning. Play was suspended by darkness Thursday. 50 golfers unable to finish their first rounds, including 2023 U.S. Open champ Wyndham Clark, who led the field by 4 strokes before play was halted. Clark 6 under through 16 holes. World number 1 Scotty Scheffler finished 2 over par in round 1. Baseball, Angels 11-time All-Star Mike Trout, who has not played more than 130 games in a season since 2019, placed on the injured list for the first time this year. 10-day IL because of a strained hamstring. Trout, who leads the American League in runs scored, was injured Wednesday while running to first base. For more scores, stories, and features, go to foxsports.com. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
There are still a couple guys left on the course for the first round, but Wyndham Clark leads by 2 shots over Dustin Johnson, who you haven't heard about in a long time, for the LIV Tour. Wyndham Clark, -6 the first round. He finished off this morning going out at 6:30. Dustin Johnson second at -4. And then Matt Fitzpatrick and Gary Woodland are tied up -3. Both former U.S. Open champions right there. And Ryder Cowan, who is at -2, is in a large group, well, not a large group, a group of 4. He is an amateur. And he's tied for 4th place or 5th place right now. We'll keep our eyes on that throughout the morning. We're with Kevin Smith this morning. You know, Kevin, coming back to that whole conversation about the revolution thing, but going beyond that, there's always, in today's conversation, and again, looking at the world through the lens of kindness, you're the chief kindness chaser with Kindness Worldwide that you got started a few years ago. We have this thing going on where, okay, somebody didn't want to wear a jersey. So immediately somebody says, oh, well, they must hate, people who are of a different gender or have a different thought about, the LGBTQ kind of thing. That's not true. People come from different points of view on things. Somebody might come from a biblical point of view, which specifically talks about that. Other people say, no, I don't. That's not the way I read that. Other people might say, no, I don't come from that at all. But the idea of being able to respect the fact that people have different beliefs and ought not be forced to carry out something ulterior to what they believe, that comes into play here a lot, doesn't it?
No, I agree. Well, there's so much emphasis on DEI and celebrating differences, but I think we got to be very careful about what do we mean by diversity, and really think more carefully about that. I think one thing that's getting lost in that discussion is diversity of thought, diversity of opinion, diversity of beliefs. And look, sometimes there can be a slippery slope where some people rightly or wrongly perceive it as if, well, my difference is better than your difference, and trying to force it. And I think that's where I think for some they can be uncomfortable with that, or it gets into their beliefs, their faith beliefs, whatever it may be. It's not hate at all. It's like they stand for something. They want to stand on principle, and they want to stand for values, and they want to defend those values. And that's something we should be respectful of. We should not condemn that. We may not always agree with it, but we can have a reasonable discussion. And I think I look at the management of the York Revolution. I look at the player side. I think there's a lot we can learn from both perspectives.
Right.
If we have that discussion, what we have to avoid is going down to down the road or the trap that I think many want to force us to, where we make it about unkindness, or we make it about hate.
Right.
It can be about love. And people can try to change the narrative and skew it to their own way. But I don't see that there was hate involved in it at all. I think it was people standing on principles, standing on their values and beliefs, and we can learn from that.
Yeah, I think you made a great point. And beyond that situation, if we look at it, we talk about DEI, people say, well, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I agree with all three of those. I think that's important. And as you do too, and most people do. The problem is the way it's applied sometimes. We say DEI, well, diversity, equity, inclusion is because you're not doing it. Okay, that's why we put it in. As opposed to, do I really believe in diversity of thought? Do I really believe in equality? Do I really believe in inclusion? Well, first of all, I want everybody included. Okay, if we're opening the doors to a stadium, I want everybody coming here. I want everybody coming here and enjoy themselves. Equity. Do we all have the same rights? Should we all have the same rights? Absolutely. Bar none. In a country where our citizens should have all the same rights. Now, I get into citizenship and all that kind of stuff, and there are different rights you have for citizenship, different rights that you don't have if you're not a citizen. But diversity. Do I believe in diversity of thought? Yes, I do, even when it disagrees with my own. But from my standpoint, what it does, it gives me a chance to think about other points of view. Now, I may still hold my point of view afterward. Does that make me a bad person? Aside from the fact that if I want to take away those other two sets of rights, then maybe I need to re-examine who I am. But the point is, if I have a point of view and I express it to you and I say, Kevin, here's why I believe what I believe, but I still value you as a friend, is there something wrong with that? The problem we get into with the whole DEI thing right now is if you don't believe a certain way, if you don't believe the way I believe in diversity, equity, inclusion, then you're somehow a bad person. And I reject that. I think that's absolutely wrong. And it sounds like that's kind of where you are, too.
Absolutely. Well, we need to disagree better. We need to emphasize active listening.
Yes.
We're often very quick to share our version of what we think is truth and our opinions. Often they're reluctant to listen to others' point of view. And when we can do that and learn from each other with a foundation of respect and kindness, that's where the real growth happens. Not condemning other people because they have different opinions or values than we do. Let's learn from them, and we can still love the person. We may disagree with their decisions, but let's not go down the path of division. And sometimes there's a narrative out there, and there's narrative and there's truth.
Right.
And there will be those that are going to try to create a narrative, a false narrative, I believe, about this issue, or York in general. Well, how do we fight back against a false narrative? Well, we show them how good we are.
Right.
That's what Pack the Park for Kindness is all about. Let's make a statement as a community.
August
Let's all
20th.
come together.
Yeah.
Kindness makes no distinction on any difference.
No, it
It's
doesn't.
universal. So let's stand up for that, and let's celebrate Kindness Week worldwide and come together as a community. That's the one thing that everyone can agree upon is kindness. So we should encourage it. We should recognize it. We should reward it, and we should celebrate it. We can do that on August 20th, and we can do that November 7th through 14th for Kindness Week worldwide as well.
I like how you wove that in. You're very good. No, I couldn't agree with you more. August 20th, a great chance to bring the whole community together, and part of community is unity. And
absolutely.
That's what we want to see. Great conversation this morning, Kevin. Appreciate it, my friend. People can go to kindnessworldwide.org. Don't forget, for such a time as this, now up to 11 awards
11
and honorable
and counting.
mentions. Yes, and counting. If you want to have that shown to your local civic group, might not hurt. Okay, might help. Just go on to kindnessworldwide.org, find Kevin's email there, and you can email to him, and he can set up a date with you to do that for your church group or your community group or local civic group, whatever it might be. A great chance to come together and talk about some of the ways in which we can be a kinder community in the long run, because that's where this all got started 3 years ago and counting. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Dr. Gracia ATN just around the corner as we talk about your mental health, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. It is a Friday morning, and Martin Tate has been here all week as our guest producer. And this is whom coming back here, Martin?
This is a little bit of Kenny Chesney.
Oh, Kenny Chesney. Good, yeah. You're very eclectic in what you played this week. I've noticed that. You've had a lot of different kinds of things, from a little rock to a little country to somewhere in between. Been very impressed all week long.
That's very much just my music taste in general.
Is that right?
Being honest, yeah.
Very eclectic. Okay. I do want to remind you this hour being brought to you by Pappy's Q Barbecue and Seafood, 35A North Main Street, right there in Jacobus, Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, the only place I need to go for barbecue and seafood. You can give a call ahead at 717-347-7062 to get takeout there. But when it comes to all-you-can-eat specials, they got wings and shrimp and all kinds of stuff going on there. All-you-can-eat specials like brisket, ribs, steamed shrimp, fried shrimp, barbecue. I sound like the guy in Forrest Gump, right? Shrimp. Yeah. Chicken, French fries, hush puppies, snow crab legs. They got an all-you-can-eat thing for $59 there if you want to just go in and just eat. But, when Pappy's Q got started a few years ago, they wanted to really specialize in seafood and barbecue, and that's what they've done. They've got surf and turf like brisket and lobster tail, ribs and crab legs. Oh, yeah, they've got it all going on. Maybe you'd like a combination of Pappy's platter with scallops, brisket, crab cake, or steamed shrimp and ribs, or pork, crab legs, 2 clusters, which is what I get a lot of times. Or maybe you'd like to go with some of the sandwiches like the pulled pork, the brisket, burnt ends, smoked sausage, smokehouse chicken. I mean, crab cakes, it's unbelievable. They got it all there. And po' boys. Yeah, shrimp, crawfish, alligator, oyster. And don't forget, when you come to the stadium, Pappy's Q now has a concession here at the stadium. Yes, tonight you can stop in here at the stadium and kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. But when you come through the gates, go to the left, and Pappy's Q is right there, and you can check out the great taste. Tell them that Gary Sutton said you have to come in and try Pappy's Q. It is my favorite barbecue place, bar none, and they're open tonight at the restaurant 4 to 8, but also here at the stadium. They're open tomorrow 10 to 7, Sunday 10 to 8, 4 to 8, on Thursday and Friday. They're closed on Tuesday and Wednesday, but Pappy's Q is ready to meet your culinary taste right now when it comes to barbecue and seafood. Get on out there today or give them a call at 717-347-7062. Todd and Amy Howdy Shell, Todd, of course, is Pappy, are ready to make your wonderful taste a reality today. WOYK News Time, 7:37. We welcome this morning Dr. Gracia ATN, who is the head of York TMS Clinic, located at the 1806 North George Street right here in York. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. Good morning, my friend. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am. You know what? If I were any better today, I might get arrested for illegal happiness. That's how good I feel today. I mean, I'm just.
I hear you.
How's that? So I'm just. It's wonderful to get up. It's wonderful to have a purpose to the day, and it's wonderful to go about it and ready. How about yourself today? You having a good day?
Hey, I designed the day, and so far it's exactly the way I designed it, so it's going well.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Mental well-being, we talk about that, and we talk about, what goes into that for people and why we feel good about a day, and sometimes why we don't feel good about a day. But when you get up and you kind of assess what you have today, and you've gone through some tough times lately, obviously, but by the same token, I get up in the morning, I was walking down my driveway this morning to my car, and my particular life, I thank God for the day, and I say thank you for this day. Thank you for my home, my family, my wife, especially. Thank you for having a job today. Thank you for this car that's going to take me to work. I find when I'm thankful for things that's a pretty good way to kind of get the day started. I wanted to get your take on, when all of us are getting out of bed and say, okay, well, some people say, oh, no, I got to go to work today. Oh, I got to get up. I got to do this. I don't ever think about I've got to. I think more about thank you for the chance to do this. What's your thought on that this morning, Doctor?
Yeah, you actually point to something that psychology has covered for the longest time, and applied science now have proven it. Gratitude has a lot to do with our mental well-being and our predisposition to things. And again, when we're talking about mental health, we're not just referring to the mere absence of mental illness. We're talking about psychological, emotional, and social wellness. So it's everything covered under that the umbrella of that term, of those terms, and gratitude has a lot to do with it. And people, again, wake up in the morning and start praying and say, God, thank you for the gift of a new day, for the grace and allowing me to breathe. And those people, they will tell you over and over again that they feel better. They approach the day with a great attitude, and somehow everything moves in the right direction for them.
I wanted to talk to you this morning a little bit about what you do. You have York TMS Clinic right here at 1806 North George Street in York. But when we talk about the NeuroStar machine, I've had some people say to me, well, what is it exactly? I said, well, go to @Gary Sutton Show on Facebook, scroll on down a good ways there, and you're going to see a little podcast that Dr. Etienne and I did about it. But NeuroStar uses what we call transcranial magnetic stimulation. Thus, we get the TMS at York TMS Clinic. And what it does, it focuses on areas of the brain that tend to be less active in people with depression. Now, it's not electroconvulsive therapy. It's not that. Talk to people about what it is, because I think sometimes we hear, NeuroStar and TMS, and people get a little bit afraid of what they don't really know about. Talk about that and why it really is a non-threatening, non-invasive kind of way in which we can deal with people who do have depression, Dr. Etienne.
Yeah, you touched on some good points there. This is a completely non-invasive approach to the management of depression or OCD and other issues also. It's TMS stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation, and it's a descriptive term to simply say that you are stimulating something in the brain through the skull and using magnetic field. And these are low pulse magnetic pulses that is very comfortable, well tolerated by patients, and as low, sometimes even lower than what you would be exposed to if you get an MRI for your shoulder, your back, or anything. So it doesn't hurt at all. And what it does, it awakens or regulate, and sometimes it's awaken and other times it regulates the transmissions of or the connections between the cells in the brain, and that's what allows any function of the brain to be what it's supposed to be, and that's it. When patients are suffering from OCD, depression, or other mental illnesses, the cells in the brains are either asleep or they are completely deregulated. So they are firing but not connecting. So therefore, the messages are not being transmitted by regulating that and realigning the cells again. It's like creating the road to allow the trucks to go by again. You
right.
Then that's really the best imagery I can give at this point. Yeah, and allowing patients to come back. But to me, more importantly, besides the basic science around it, besides the all this stuff, it's the result that I've seen in patients. It's the outcome, and it's the testimonies and people over and over telling you how their lives was before and after, what a major change, and people who are completely unmotivated, people who had no energy and couldn't do anything, couldn't cope with life, and suddenly being able to participate in things again, and to use one term, regaining their mental wellness by being able to have relationship, by being able to control their emotions and being more productive again. And this, to me, that's where I find the excitement more than anything else.
No, I think you're right. I was reading a testimony here by a girl named Shelley who said, when I got NeuroStar, it was honestly like a difference between night and day. My general outlook on life just got a lot better. Life in general felt a lot lighter and not like a burden. And isn't that what we want to get around to, where life is not a burden, but it feels light. It feels like what you and I were talking about in the beginning here. You get up in the morning, you're thankful, and you're looking forward to the day, and there's a balance there. And for people who through no fault of their own, can't get that balance sometimes, this might be a great alternative for them to check out what York TMS Clinic has to offer, right?
That is correct. It's a great tool. It's well tolerated. Great track report at this point. FDA approved, covered by major insurances, and it's right there, local, free consultation. And honestly, you have absolutely no excuse not to stop by if you have any questions. And you owe it to yourself. If you know someone who is struggling with depression, or if you yourself, you think that you may be dealing with depression, just to see if this is going to help you. Why skip over a tool that has the potential to really get you back in the swing of things again?
And again, one of the things you're talking about is get educated. Get a packet of information. You've got that available right there. Give a call. You can give a call today to 717-699-7361. The idea, and who could be available for this? Adolescents, veterans, just people who are going through a tough time, and you say, geez, why don't I pull this into the tool belt here and see if it might be a possibility, if it might work for me. And while you're there, if it's not in use at that moment, you can see how it all works. You can see the machine itself. Go to @Gary Sutton Show on Facebook. You can see me actually sitting in the chair, and Dr. ATM, we did about a 15 to 20-minute video on that whole thing on a podcast, and it's all right there for you. So don't deny yourself the chance to maybe get that well-being we were talking about this morning. Go to YorkTMSClinic.com right now, or give a call today to 717-699-7361 and tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. And Dr. Etienne and his staff there, from Simone to others, will be glad to explain to you, give you the information, get you educated, and see if it might be right for you. Dr. Etienne, you're always a breath of fresh air and a light in the darkness here in the morning. We really appreciate you being out there and all that you're trying to do to help people here in New York get back to that good mental health.
Thank you, my friend. We're going to continue the crusade.
We are. Thank you so much. Dr. Gracia Etienne here on the Gary Sutton Show. Check out York TMS Clinic today. Go to YorkTMSClinic.com or stop on by 1806 North George Street, New York. York TMS Clinic, the sign's right in the outside, and go in there and get a packet of information, sit down and talk to them about it, and see if it can be something that will help you to get that kind of happiness that you deserve. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. It's 7:47 on a Friday morning.
I've been down here too long. It's time for me to ascend.
From the sewers of Gotham, a new villain emerges.
You didn't invite me, so I crashed.
From the rooftops of Gotham, the perfect enemy comes to life.
I am Catwoman. Hear me roar.
Yeah.
A little Batman coming back here with the Penguin.
Save this city is a creature of the night.
Yeah, Batman.
Hey, stud.
Do you know off the top of your head which one this was, Gary?
Together.
Well, we do. Danny DeVito played the Penguin, I remember.
Yes.
And who was the actress I liked so much?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer played Catwoman. But they were both in this, right?
Yeah, that's this movie.
Yeah.
And then this is the Michael Keaton Batman.
Yes. Michael Keaton's still there. Danny DeVito is like just awful in this. Yeah. And who is the weird guy? They own the store. He's creepy. I should know this. More cowbell, please. What was the actor's name there?
I can pull this up.
Yeah. And he tries to kill Michelle Pfeiffer in the beginning.
You missed.
But yeah, he runs the store and he gets in the league with the Penguin. What the heck is his name? Oh, and it starts with a W. The last name starts
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken. There you go. Yeah, creepy. I didn't have to do any kind of preparation for this, just be Christopher Walken, and that was that. So yeah. By the way, I saw a story this morning about a police department. It seems like every day, we're hearing about AI or robots, right? Storming into our workplaces and taking over tasks that used to be done by actual people. But not all of this is working. Some of it is a hot mess. There's a police department in Dublin, Ohio. And by the way, Dublin, Ohio is where Muirfield Village is, where Jack Nicklaus had his Memorial Golf Classic. That's Dublin, Ohio, by the way. So in Dublin, Ohio, a police department excitedly announced a brand new hire last summer, a 128,000 police safety robot named Dubot. Okay, Dubot, or Dubbot, however you want to say it. Dubbot was equipped with a 360-degree camera and an emergency call button capable of connecting people with an actual officer, Martin. And it was dispatched to a few places like a parking structure to keep an eye out for problems. Now, not even a year later, the Dublin Police Department has fired Dubbot for being useless. Dubbot did not lead to any arrests, criminal cases, or tickets, and never identified any incidents that required a police response. So this week, a spokesperson announced the robot was being returned to the company that produced it. They were originally going to spend $238,000 to have two robots for 2 years, but they're backing out. The police department will get a partial refund, but a year of Dubbot will still set them back $68,000 for a robot who did nothing. I mean, this guy was a bum, didn't do anything on the job, and we're a little sad about that. I mean, the robot proved that you can be useless. And so AI does not conquer all. Also, and I saw this word yesterday, for more than a decade, Chick-fil-A ruled the fast food world when it came to customer satisfaction. But this year, there's a brand new champ for customer satisfaction. Brand new champ. According to the American Customer Satisfaction Index, fairly significant group, by the way, Jersey Mike's is now the highest-rated quick-service restaurant in America. The sandwich chain scored an 84 out of 100, edging out Chick-fil-A by a single point, who was at 83. Researchers say customers are focused more on consistency, reliability, food quality, and overall value rather than simply looking for the lowest prices. Jersey Mike's was rated well for its fresh ingredients, menu variety, and customer experience. The company also added more than 200 new locations, so that helps too. More people are experiencing the Jersey Mike difference now. Jimmy John's and Panda Express are right behind them at 3 and 4. And the top 5 burger spots are, you ready for this? Burger King, Culver's, Sonic, Wendy's, and Five Guys. No McDonald's in there.
That doesn't surprise me.
The top 5 chicken spots are Chick-fil-A, KFC, Raising Cane's, which I understand is going to go out there into where Linden Diner was. That's what they're talking about, Raising Cane's, Wingstop, and Popeyes. The top 4 sandwich spots are Jersey Mike's, Jimmy John's, Subway, and Arby's. The top 4 pizza spots are Papa John's, Pizza Hut, Domino's, and Little Caesars.
You mean to tell me someone out-pizzaed the Hut?
They did. They did. Papa John's. And the top 3 full-service restaurant chains are Longhorn, Steakhouse, Texas Roadhouse, and Olive Garden. That was all in USA Today. So Jersey Mike's has moved to the top of the food chain here, literally, when it comes to the fast food.
Yeah, you talk about Danny DeVito. I'll be honest. I think his Jersey Mike's commercials are pretty funny.
They're pretty good. And of course, the thing he did back and forth there with Eli Manning for a while was kind of cool.
Eli's?
But I got it. Yeah, I know. Eli's. But I got to tell you, I love their subs. I go in there and I get their subs on a regular basis. Although I hadn't in a while. I just got one the other day. I still have half of one in the refrigerator ready to eat it. But they're number 5, by the way, is my favorite. They're number 5 sub. And I don't do it Mike's way. They say, you want to do it Mike's way. They put a little too much liquid on there for my taste. But their rolls are good, and they're very fresh. They're very fresh. And, but I got to tell you also, I go by Chick-fil-A. It is always lined up. And they've got the people out there taking your order, then the person checking to see if you're still happy going around the corner, and then you get to the thing where they walk out and they deliver your order. So
my pleasure.
They do a great job.
There's a reason why Chick-fil-A was number 1 for, you said, 11 years running?
Yeah, and they're only behind 1 point right now. So now you wonder, what are they going to do now to up that number and maybe get by Jersey Mike's?
They're going to make it so even though they still have that long line, you get out 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah, they're going to give you something on the way through. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, sorry, you have to sit here and wait. Here's a free cookie for
here's a cookie
troubles.
while you're sitting here. Here's a little here, or maybe a brand new taste of something we have here. Try this out. I don't know. But they'll come up with something. All these outfits are competing all the time, and so there you have it. Well, Jim McClure's up next. How did the Revolutionary War affect York? That's the big question. But I do want to remind you, this hour has been brought to you by Pappy's Q, Barbecue and Seafood, 35A North Main Street, right there in Jacobus, just behind the Rudders and the Shopette, 717-347-7062. Why don't you get out there tonight and enjoy a great dinner between 4 and 8? They've got all-you-can-eat specials all the time, plus wings, seafood, great platters, combinations like surf and turf. And don't forget, they're here at the stadium. So if you can't get out to the restaurant tonight, check them out here at the stadium when you come through. They're at the left-hand side when you walk through the doors, and tell them Gary Sutton sent you to get the taste of Pappy's Q. We'll take a break and we'll come back. It's 8 o'clock.
Entered the U.S. on a B-2 visitor visa and failed to leave the U.S.
As Fox's David Spuns, America's listening to Fox News. You've got to try the new chef. I just take blue-green algae. Or you could trust your gut. When it comes to your health, how do you know what's right?
This is York's only local show on York's only local station. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Listen to your show every day. It's really good.
I have you guys on every morning to wake up to.
Gary Sutton, mornings 6 to 9 on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
All the things you're talking about are all things we're talking about. It's Main Street America every day.
And you're getting your money's worth.
You're a brilliant mind, tremendous experience. You're great for the community.
The Gary Sutton Show on York's first station, WOYK.
To infinity and beyond.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome to the final hour of the week here on the Gary Sutton Show, live from Brooks Robinson Plaza right here at Wellspan Park in the heart of downtown York, the home of the York Revolution. You can go to yorkrevolution.com to get tickets. They're going to be playing tonight right here on WOYK. 6:10 is the when Darryl goes up on the air, and 6:30 first pitch. They're playing the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs tonight in the, third to last game of this 6-game series. And I hope you'll come on out here to the stadium tonight and support the Revolution. I do want to remind you, this hour brought to you by Regents Glen Country Club. You can find it at regentsglen.com. And I want to tell you something. Right now, they've got some great membership offers. Join in June, July, or August and enjoy 2 months of free monthly dues. The offer applies to golf memberships with an initiation fee paid in full at the time of joining. They've also got a social membership promotion. New social members will receive 1 month of complimentary dues with a $100 dining credit. Offer applies to social memberships with initiation fee paid in full at the time of joining. I got to tell you what. Right now, they have got some of the best membership packages you're ever going to have to join a country club. They're low, and they have a variety of memberships for you that can fit any kind of budget. I'm dead serious. And Regents Glen is the hottest country club in the area right now, drawing people from all over and coming in. The pool is open. It's wonderful to see people out there every day. You can get your dinner served to you at the pool. They've got a great place to eat there at the fairway table. All kinds of wonderful culinary tastes there that can be fit. An 8-acre practice range, a short game practice range, an Arthur Hills designed golf club, bocce, pickleball, tennis courts, you name it, they've got it all going on, plus all kinds of things like a fitness center. They've got a 19th hole where people will sit back, relax, and enjoy. Activities galore all the time. Golf tournaments. I'm playing in the Senior Club Championship this weekend. They've got a group that's going to fit you, and something that's going to fit you at Regents Glen Country Club. Check it out right now. You don't want to miss out. Great amenities there. And it's at regentsglen.com, or give a call to Lacey or Amanda right now at Regents Glen Country Club, 717-747-1919. That's 717-747-1919. And just go to the prompt and check in, and they will give you a tour. They really will. Great people. You're going to get met with a smile at Regents Glen Country Club right there off Indian Rock Dam Road at 1000 Golf Club Road. Regents Glen, the sponsor of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show right here on WOYK. We're always honored with our next guest, Jim McClure, who joins us. And Jim McClure is a historian who's written Never to Be Forgotten, the 275 anniversary of York County, year-by-year history. You can find the book at Brown's Orchard or right here at the York History Center at the corner of Pershing Avenue and West Philadelphia Street here in York. Jim is a local historian and joins us here this morning on WOYK. Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Doing well and looking forward to talking more about America 250 this morning.
America 250 and the Revolutionary War really kind of, I guess you'd say in your writing there, jolted and transformed York County, did it not?
Yeah, before the war, there's one scholar, Paul Datrick, has said that York County was a German peasant town. That German was spoken here on the streets, and really I would say it was a very quiet place, except when it wasn't. And there were times of the year that for example, the early fairs. We had fairs in those days, right. The forerunners of the state fair. We had market days. And out in the country and in town here, we did have churches, we had schools, we had mills, we had iron furnaces, we had places for people to congregate. But as a general rule, it was a quiet place, and the war changed all that.
One of the things that I saw that you wrote, Jim, and I really thought it was really well said in your part, an isolated frontier region. We went from being an isolated frontier region. We got kind of thrust into national politics, didn't we?
Yeah, York was just in 1777-78 in particular, whenever Continental Congress came here, and they famously adopted the Articles of Confederation and ratified the treaties with France. That was a busy time. I mean, we had young men from military age going out to fight on the battlefield, and there they had to learn English. They found the world didn't all speak English or German. They understood that English was the main language, and had to adopt that to understand kind of the commands of the officers. There's military coming through here all the time in that 9-month period. There were statesmen here, elected and appointed, and they had their servants and with them in some cases. And then we had steady streams of prisoners of war coming through here in 77, 78. They would march through. So we had one parade after another in that 9-month period.
What was it about York that made it the place that people were coming through all the time? That's really a question I think a lot of people are wondering.
Oh, that's really, really good question. One is that we were on the good side, the west side of the Susquehanna, so we were away from the British. Any British raid. The British at that time were in Philadelphia, so the Continental Congress, they were a little nervous still about the British, but they knew they had that wide river between them. But also we were on what was called the Great Wagon Road, and that was the main route from Germantown and for settlers going down to the south. They would come, cross at Wrightsville and come to York, go down to Hanover, go down to Frederick, and into the Shenandoah Valley.
Right.
And so it was a major road. So we had Southerners coming up from the south, and we had Northerners marching off to war down in the south, using that Great Wagon Road.
Now, we got out of this regional isolation, obviously, with the Continental Congress taking up residence here in 77, 78. And as you talk about in your articles, it really put the local community in the spotlight, and all of a sudden York gets on the map. But it also had a shift in domestic roles during that time, because as a lot of military-age men marched off to war, guess what? York becomes, a village of women, children, and older men. Talk about that and how that changed the community a bit.
Yeah, there's one estimate that 4,000 military-age men went to war. War uniforms went to war. And the town wasn't that big. The county wasn't that big. So you could say that maybe something like 60% of the military-age men went off to war. And so who was left to run the town? It was the boys, elderly people, and women of town. And not only did they have to run shops in town, they had to run farms. They had to provide for these, these visitors during this 9-month period. They had to provide for them, meaning they lived in their homes. They had to feed them. And so, the women really did run the town. The guys just weren't here.
Are there women that stand out in history that we know of here in York that I know you've mentioned some before, who really who their names still kind of stand out there at the end of history?
Yeah, the one she's only known as the widow Mimmons, and Timothy Pickering was a Massachusetts statesman who lived in her home, and he said the whole time he was there, she just sat at her spinning wheel, and he noted that it was a modest spinning wheel, and it was made no more noise than the sound of a purring cat. So she sat there and did this and created, clothing and so on. And I wondered about that as to what she did this for. She obviously did it to earn her keep, to earn a living. But I also wonder if she wasn't making things for the military.
Yeah.
Why else would she be there from morning to night? She obviously was pitching in with what was going on. She wasn't just giving up. She was there, participating in the life of the community and the life of the visitors to the community, of which there were many in those days.
We read about the Revolutionary War, and we know that it was not a united front. We know that, and again, the rough idea is 33% were patriots, 33% were loyalists, and 33% weren't quite sure what they were in terms of how they felt about going against Great Britain. But and that probably was really brought out here in our own community. We had internal strife during that time, right?
Yeah, it was. I think that in the main, York County was patriotic. And one of the reasons for that is we never did have an invasion of the enemy here. We had enemy prisoners, but never did have the enemy here. So we didn't have a chance to convert to to being British or being a loyalist. But having said that, we were on balance patriotic here, in part because our great leaders in town, James Smith and Thomas Hartley, were very much patriotic, were favorites of the Continental Army, were delegates to the early, governments. And so where leadership goes in a town, so goes the town, and that was the case there. I also want to point out, Gary, that, and maybe you would want to get to this, but make sure that we do, was the Civil War, and war does change a town. Civil War and World War II did that. It changed our county, and as bad and bloody and as these wars are, they did make a difference in a good way in our towns. For example, in the Civil War, we lost more than 500 men who were killed in the war, and we were overrun by the war by the Confederates that overran us here. But we were ready for the Industrial Revolution, and all those red brick factories we see around here are a result of that. Of our involvement in the Industrial Revolution. The Civil War kind of got us ready for the Industrial Revolution, you might say. And the same thing happened in World War II, where we were coming out of the Depression. Things were sluggish here economically. And in World War II with the York Plan, where we were one of the leaders in the nation in defense industries, that got us ready for the next phase of things in the 1950s, and caused the growth of the suburbs. We can debate whether that was good or not, but in terms of the city. But Harley came in later, but Caterpillar came in, Haynes Acres went up, the York County Shopping Center went in. So wars do cause a disruption that can be to the benefit of a town.
Yeah, it is amazing what the wars did. So plucking us out of obscurity and then establishing us as a governmental place, and then later on, after having that identity, see what happened during the Civil War, and then also later on as a result of the World War. It's been quite an evolution for York, has it not?
Yeah, you have to look pretty hard to find a town north of the Mason-Dixon line that had experiences like we did with the American Revolution, the Civil War, and the Underground Railroad. You add all that together, and we're pretty unusual. A lot of it's based on our location, west of the Susquehanna, and it has shaped us greatly. And we just have to also think about the fact that we were the capital of the United States. I mean, you talked about government presence.
Amazing.
Government operated from here. We were one of 9 locations, the most recent being Washington, D.C., of course. And we were number 4 in that list, time-wise. And, the eyes of the world were on York.
What are we going to be talking about next Friday? Now, I'm going to be out next Friday. I think you'll be talking with Jamie Norpel, one of your fellow historians here in York. But what are we going to be hitting next Friday?
Yeah, I compiled a list of favorite quotes from the American Revolution that I think would great discussion, because they show the emotion of the day and what people were dealing with. So we'll walk through those quotes of another American 250 topic.
Be a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying the American 250 as we close in on July 4th. Jim, always good having you aboard. Where are you going to be in coming days so people can kind of catch up to you?
Yes, next week from Saturday, I'll be at the Ware Center down in Hanover talking about the Declaration of Independence. So still on that America 250 theme.
There you go. You can never learn enough about that from my standpoint. Again, people can pick up a copy of Never to Be Forgotten right there at Brown's Orchards or at the York History Center, corner of Pershing and West Philadelphia Street. Jim, always a pleasure talking to you on a Friday. Thanks so much. You always keep us aware of what's going on and what has gone on here in York County. Really appreciate it, my friend.
Great. Talk to you next week.
Thank you. Jim McClure, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. When we come back, we'll tell you about the opening of a brand new library by a president, and also what's going on in the national scene. We'll update you on that as well. All straight ahead on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
B, I want to talk to you about the college thing, okay?
I'm so excited.
Hey, I'm not taking you with me.
Look at this place. I feel smarter already. Can you smell it?
Yeah, it smells like $40,000 a year.
Hey, beautiful. Made you a long-distance relationship kit. I got your webcam so we can chat 24/7.
Sounds cute. I can't wait.
Now, what is this movie?
This is Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Oh, okay. I never saw Transformers.
I haven't either, but I know a lot of friends who are big into the Transformers franchise.
Yeah, and I know it's popular. I just never saw. Mark and I do this all the time. Mark is like science fiction guy. He loves that kind of thing, and I tend to go away from that. I'm more of a historical person, that kind of thing, documentaries, stuff like that. I really am into that. But Mark is the science fiction guy. He would love this kind of thing. I'm sure he's seen it probably several times.
And it's notable because it came out on this day in 2009.
There you go.
So 17 years ago.
Relatively recent movie, right? I mean, 17 years, not that long. By the way, a couple other big news items. This morning, the Obama Center opened up. A dedication yesterday. President Trump was the only former president or president missing. You had President Bush there, President Clinton there. I think President Obama obviously was there. You had President Clinton was there yesterday as well. But it was a rousing dedication. It's a strange-looking library. It's in the middle of south side of Chicago. But it's designed to echo the sense of excitement and possibility that surrounded former President Barack Obama's groundbreaking election in 2008, a moment that seems distant from the politics of today. The 9 years since he left the White House have brought all kinds of things, but President Obama, opening his library yesterday, June 19th, the day before June 19th. So there you go. But President Trump was invited, but he sent a message of his own, but he was not there yesterday, and the other presidents were. So there you go. There were a number of luminaries there yesterday, and it was a good time was had, I guess, by all. We also know that the president is trying to get rid of the algae here in the reflecting pool down at the Lincoln Memorial. The National Park Service has worked to control and remove that algae bloom that turned the water green following the Trump administration's $16 million repair, resealing and painting project. The problem that they're having right now is a combination of pictures of the renovations of the reflecting pool taken on May 2nd, May 28th, June 7th, June 12th, and June 16th, and June 18th. The blue paint is chipping up, and it's coming up in the water right now, and so they got to figure out a way to take care of the paint peels for the bottom of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool after the recent renovations. So President Trump trying to make it better and not going that well. Today is Juneteenth. What do you need to know about today? It is a national holiday. And whether you're looking to run some last-minute errands before the weekend or go out to dinner, consumers will have plenty of shopping and dining options on Friday. Most national retailers, grocery stores, and restaurant chains will be open on the holiday. However, banks and post offices will be closed today. So if you go to the bank or the post office and say, what the heck happened? It's Juneteenth. The stock market also closed since Juneteenth is a federal holiday as of June of 2021. Juneteenth, also known as America's second Independence Day, is a fixed date holiday, meaning it always is on June 19th. This year, the holiday falls today on a Friday. The holiday commemorates a day when Major General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas, in 1865 with 2,000 Union troops to proclaim that more than 250,000 enslaved black people in the state of Texas were free. 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st of 1863. And everything you need to know about the open and closed on June 19th, it's best to check with your local store or restaurant online before leaving home, as hours and closures can be a factor there. and they vary by location. Let's see. Juneteenth is a USPS holiday, according to the agency's website, meaning mail will not be delivered and post offices will be closed for retail transactions on June 19th. UPS and FedEx pickup and delivery services will be available on Juneteenth. UPS store locations will remain open, according to the company's website, and FedEx office locations will also remain open on this day. Since it is a federal holiday, most bank branches will be closed on June 19th. Consumers should check with their local bank branch for specific holiday hours. The United States stock markets will be closed today in observance of Juneteenth. The NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange will be closed Friday and reopened Monday, June 22nd. The U.S. bond market will also be closed on June 19th, according to Securities Industry and Financial Markets Association. A majority of grocery chains will be open under their regular operating hours on June 19th. Kroger says on its website its stores will be open regular hours. However, pharmacy and clinic hours may vary. Other grocery stores such as Walmart, Food Lion, Trader Joe's, Meijer, Publix, and Whole Foods, among others, have traditionally been open on Juneteenth. It is always best to check with your local store regarding specific holiday hours. So there you have it. Matt, Anyway, there you have it. It's all right here today, and I thought I'd lay some of that out for you here on WOYK. When we come back, we will go back over the events of the week, some of the things that have happened. Martin will have some items for you as well. We'll hit some of the news you might have missed, have some fun with some of that, and all straight ahead right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 8:30 this hour, being brought to you by Regents Glen Country Club. You can find them at regentsglen.com right now. And I'll tell you what, they've got some great membership opportunities for you, all different kinds. You don't have to play golf. You could have a social membership. You could have a pool membership. You could have a dining membership. And they are as low as I've ever seen them right now. Regents Glen is the hottest country club around. Because of that reason, they're located right at 1000 Golf Club Road, just across the street from Indian Rock Dam School off Indian Rock Dam Road. And you'll see the entrance right there. And it has got the fairway table with some great food options. You can sit out on the deck overlooking the pool and have a wonderful lunch or dinner. They've got the indoor dining as well. And just great selections everywhere you look. Plus bocce ball. They've got pickleball. They've got tennis. They've got golf. They've got just all kinds of activities going on all the time. A workout center down below, a 19th hole where you can sit back and relax and watch the U.S. Open, for example, this weekend. They've got it all at Regents Glen right now. Why don't you give Lacey a call today at 717-747-1919? And just wait for the prompt. She's the general manager, and ask for her, and she'll be glad to show you around. Regents Glen is a great place to be a member right now with a price and a membership that's going to fit everybody's budget. It's exactly right. And the pool is open, and it is fantastic out there. You can even get your dinner down by the pool if you'd like. And a workout center that is in there. You go in there and get yourself in shape. All happening at Regents Glen, where activities galore are going on all the time. Regents Glen Country Club, regentsglen.com, the proud sponsor of this hour of the Gary Sutton Show right here on WOYK.
This is the greatest advance in modern physics since the splitting of the atom.
A rare metal, molecularly unstable.
It's what they're made of.
Bring it up! All the way! You guys have never seen a truck like this before.
Dad, you can't keep spending money on junk.
I don't think it's a truck at all. I think we just found a transformer.
I'm going to ask you this once. Where is Optimus Prime?
After all we have done, humans are hunting us. But I fear we are all targets now.
What is that?
Who sent you here?
Yeah, more Transformer stuff, huh?
As I told you in that break,
Yeah.
June 19th, just a big day for the Transformers franchise because they released the other one we listened to, Revenge of the Fallen, on June 19th, 2009. Transformers Age of Extinction premiered in Hong Kong on June 19th, 2014.
I hope it's the Age of Extinction for Transformers. Yeah, I'm not a big Transformers fan, as you may have ascertained, and it's what it is. Now, remember today was supposed to be the day that the peace treaty was signed, or the memorandum of understanding was signed in Geneva, Switzerland, but Vice President Vance delayed his trip to Switzerland to lead new U.S. talks with Iran on its nuclear program. The White House said the vice president is delaying his trip to Switzerland to lead those nuclear negotiations, and we're not exactly sure why, although I think probably part of it has to do with Israel in Lebanon against Hezbollah. That's the fly in the ointment right now, because Iran wants that to be part of the deal, and Israel is not ready to give up their efforts against Hezbollah, who is a proxy of Iran, who has benefited by their monetary help and otherwise over the years. So the White House said Thursday night that Vice President J.D. Vance was delaying his trip to Switzerland, where he'd been set up to lead this new round of negotiations, raising questions about what's next for the tentative agreement to end the war. Meanwhile, there are a number of people who are both Republicans and Democrats who are questioning this memorandum of understanding, the MOA as it's called, and over a number of things. Number one, $300 billion, which will be raised to help to rehabilitate Iran after the effects of the war. And we're not quite sure about where that money's coming from. Now, they've said, and Vice President Vance has said that directly, not a dime of that's what's going to come from taxpayers here in our country, that it will come from various Gulf nations. But we don't have that down exactly in writing yet, where everybody has been able to see it. We also have concerns over the fact that we are canceling debts with Iran, that we are canceling the boycott of Iranian goods there and the boycott of Iranian ports. And a lot of people are saying, are we giving away too much too soon? Are we doing that? And is it all because the president's looking around at the numbers and seeing that people aren't very happy right now in the country, and that Republicans are going to lose out as a result of that come the mid-November elections? So all of those things are swirling around right now. So we'll see what happens later on today. I'm sure there's going to be some news out there on where the vice president is going to go next. So that is it's a big deal right now as to what is happening there with the vice president and his efforts to go sign this deal. Meanwhile, oil tankers have passed the Strait of Hormuz after the war deal, and you're seeing oil prices starting to come down. I heard this morning, and it's not necessarily true in Pennsylvania because of our extra taxes, but thank you, Governor Corbett. But the price of gasoline is around $3.99 a gallon. It's the lowest it's been since March nationwide. Okay. Three big Saudi oil tankers left the Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz on Thursday. Maritime Tracker said after leaders vowed to reopen the route under an agreement to end the U.S.-Iran war. Virtually halted during 3.5 months of the conflict, traffic through the crucial trade route appeared to pick up slightly, though shipping groups warned that plans for the resumption of traffic were not clear yet. So there's a lot of things that aren't totally clear yet as to how fast this traffic's going to move, how quickly the oil prices will come down, how quickly our gas prices will come down as a result of that. So that is out there this morning as well. So you got all that going on at the moment. We've got, what else happening here? President Trump's approval ratings on Iran are low, even as the tentative deal to end the fighting is emerging. This is according to a new AP NORC poll. Most Americans continue to disapprove of how President Trump is handling Iran, while his overall presidential approval rating seems to be holding steady, according to this new poll. The poll points to just how unpopular the 3-month war with Iran has been with Americans, even as President Trump turned abruptly from threatening Iran to reopening negotiations. Support for the president's handling of the war remains lopsidedly partisan. About 2/3, 65% of U.S. adults, disapprove of how President Trump is handling issues with Iran. But while the vast majority of Democrats and independents view Trump's actions negatively, only 28% of Republicans are unhappy. That means 72% are fairly happy with what the president's been doing. Americans' views on how the president is handling Iran are roughly in line with his overall job approval, which stands at 37%, unchanged from an AP NORC poll conducted in May. So that has remained pretty much unchanged here in June. Not going up, not really going down. The survey was conducted from between June 11th to 17th, just after President Trump called off threats to escalate the war with Iran. So there's some numbers out there. Take them as you will, and we'll see how that all goes. When we come back, we'll do it right here. We've got a number of things. And then this was an interesting little thing I saw this morning, kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing. The top 5 things that Dad would say he wants for Father's Day if anyone bothered asking him. Okay? So if you bothered asking Dad what he really wants for Father's Day, here you go. Alone time in the garage with his project car. Your dads like to work on cars a lot of times. There are a lot of dads like to do that. We saw the rods here in York a couple weeks ago, and we know a lot of people like to do that. How about a bucket of beer? Not a bucket of beer, cans, mind you, a literal bucket of beer with a hose that runs straight to his mouth. Now, a bucket of beer might be something, now that, don't drive after that, obviously. How about this one? Enough hair so he doesn't have to spray any more suntan lotion on his head. That would be me. I would like a little bit more hair. I've lost a lot of that over the years. How about 0 interruptions during football, or I don't know how many dads watch soccer or the baseball game or the U.S. Open, whatever he's watching, 0 interruptions.
Well, I know a good bit of them are probably watching soccer tonight.
Well, the United States playing today that's 3 o'clock, right?
Or 3 o'clock, yeah. So this afternoon, pardon me.
And we're playing who today? Who's on our list of
Australia?
Australia. And I noticed that everybody's saying Australia, even if they don't speak like that. Australians call it Australians. That's a knife. That's not a knife. That's a knife, as Mr. Hogan would have said, Paul Hogan. But, so Australia is who we're playing today. We're in America, Jack. So there you go. 0 interruptions during that game this afternoon. Thank you very much. If the United States wins that, by the way, they're in the round of 32, which is great. By the way, if there's one thing we've learned this week, it's the week for small countries, because they've all kind of held their own. They really have. I mean, you look down there, Cape Verde tying Spain this week. You've got a lot of other small countries that have tied bigger countries, and so they're kind of puffing their chests out a little bit this week and saying, okay, we might not mean a whole lot in the scheme of things, but man, when it comes to world soccer, guess what? Here we are. We're still around. Mom to squeeze his arm and say, "Oh, my big, strong man," after he opens a lid. If Dad opens that lid today and rips it open and puts the lid in Mom's hand, and Mom says, "You know what? You are a hunk, aren't you? Huh? You're my Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're no goodie man. Okay, you're my hunk. More Taylor Sheridan shows. Dad, if Dad were to ask about something today, more like Yellowstone, more of the Taylor Sheridan shows. Mark is rolling over right now as he hears that somewhere on a beach. Say, no. A blanket pardon for burping. Dads would ask for that today if he were asked. Yeah, a blanket pardon for a good belch. Yeah. Something other than laughter when he comes home with a bowling trophy. No laughter, please. Just a little something for the effort. Excuse me. You're sorry, but to take the darn dog on a walk for once, and Dad doesn't have to do it. Yeah. So there you go, Martin. Take the dog for a walk for Dad today or over the weekend. And finally, Sydney Sweeney would be ones there. Sydney Sweeney, yeah. Enough said there. Okay, so I'm pointing out some of this stuff. When we come back, we will close the show with Dr. Nick Panelidis if he's around, and an exclamation point for the week. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Back right after this. Prices are coming down on gas, right? And a lot of you getting ready for a road trip this summer. But what about your brakes? Any of you notice lately you hear a little squeaking vibration when braking, or you just want reassurance before a long trip? Well, Jack Giambalvo is ready to help you on that right now. It's the kind of thing that helps you relax and actually enjoy the drive when you know your brakes are good. Stop by Jack Giambalvo family of dealerships today and take care of it, because they want to be your perfect road trip companion this summer. That's exactly right. And Jack Giambalvo's got a great selection of new cars and used cars right now, or as we like to say, pre-owned inventory, SUVs for the family, trucks for adventure, sedans for the daily drive. They've got it all for you right now at Jack Giambalvo family of dealerships, where it's hassle-free, pressure-free approach. It's what happens all the time. You can go to GiambalvoPreOwnedInventory.com right now and see all of what they have for you. And when you buy pre-owned at Jack Giambalvo, free lifetime PA state inspections for you and anybody in your household. 3-month, 3,000-mile warranty included on most pre-owned vehicles, and the knowledge and the comfort knowing that it goes through a rigorous inspection before it ever hits the road or is a possibility for you. That's what Jack Giambalvo is all about. A standard of gold, a standard of doing it right for 50 years here in York County. Establishing trust, quality cars, and reliable service, that's Jack Giambalvo. Check them out today at the 6 great locations by going to GiambalvoPreOwnedInventory.com. And when you get to Jack Giambalvo, tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you today. Also, tomorrow, they're having a sale at Thomasville Country Auction at 4 p.m. Firearms, gold, jewelry, watches, furniture, Longaberger baskets, Cutco knives. It's all out there for you. You can go to ThomasvilleCountryAuction.com right now and check in on the inventory at June 20th, the auction date on the left-hand side, and you'll see every item that's up for bid tomorrow at 4 p.m. Now, if you're looking to have your own sale when you have an estate to settle or you're moving or downsizing, Thomasville Country Auction is ready to help you. Thomasville Country Auction at 717-764-5403 is where Jack and Cheryl Hooks live. And they are ready to come out and assess what you have, talk about the items, tell you what to expect, what not to expect, even tell you how they can haul the items from your house to their auction house. And if you're selling real estate, Cheryl can sell you real estate and save you lots of money too. So what are you waiting for? Get on out there tomorrow at 4 p.m. to Thomasville Country Auction. They have a sale, Route 30 West at the railroad tracks in Thomasville. With that, we turn to Dr. Nick Pandelides this morning, who is the exclamation point on the week. Every week, he has something he's looking at, and we say good morning to Dr. Nick. Good morning, Dr. Nick. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. I'm doing well. And how about yourself?
I am doing extremely well. What do you have for us this morning to kind of just end the week in an appropriate fashion?
Yeah, so as you know, our 250th anniversary is coming up. And one thing that wasn't well publicized this week, but President Trump awarded the Medal of Honor to 3 recipients in this week. 2 of them were for valor during the Vietnam War, and another one from Afghanistan. Their heroism had been previously recognized, but their stories had come up, and they were voted to be upgraded by Congress. And it just struck me as we're well, let me give you your names because that's the least we can do. The one was Major James Capers Jr. He was Vietnam. Okay. Colonel John Ripley, Vietnam, and then Major Nicholas Dockery in Afghanistan. Right. 2012. But they all have this sense of patriotism, and also I think this sense of brotherhood with who they were commanding. All 3 stories were very similar. The fearless in the face of deadly and dangerous fire, sustaining injuries, continuing to lead and to direct, and then not leaving the field of battle until their men were safely picked up and taken away. But it's just it's always so inspiring to hear these stories, and for so many of us, it's just so unfamiliar, and I don't think we recognize enough the people that put their life on the line in the service of our military. And
it's so appropriate you bring those up this morning and bring those out because I think one of the stories that it tells, Dr. Nick, is ordinary people who do extraordinary things. The idea we put ordinary people into situations where they're extraordinary, they're outside of what we normally would think of people doing. The idea of going to war, the idea of serving our country, the idea of being in the theater of battle. Nobody can play. You practice for that. You go to boot camp. You go to all those things. But no one is really ready for those. And we see people turn into extraordinary human beings when we hear about that and when they do those kind of things. So I think the idea of ordinary people doing extraordinary things comes to mind as you bring up those names today.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it also, again points out we all have ideas of, how to make things better and, what other people can do so that, life and society is better. But ultimately, there's no more than you can do than what you yourself can do. And, put your, what can I do? That's what you have the influence over. And these people just kind of rise to the occasion. They don't put the responsibility on anybody else. They just, see it, do it, and good things happen.
There was an old statement somewhere, all you can do is all you can do. And all of us are called upon that in certain situations in our livelihoods and our life and sometimes in theaters of war. All we can do is all we can do. And maybe that's a great thing to remember today as you bring up those three great names here for Medals of Honor. Always appreciate you on a Friday morning, my friend. You never disappoint. Thank you so very much.
All right. You have a wonderful weekend, and look forward to talk to you next week.
Thank you, Dr. Nick. Appreciate it, too. And we'll look forward to having you on next week. Dr. Nick Pandolidis with us here with the exclamation point to the week, all here on the Gary Sutton Show. Do want to remind you this hour has been brought to you by Regents Glen Country Club. You can find them at regentsglen.com on the web. And it's not just for golfers. No. And they've got great programs right now and memberships for all kinds of people, from pool memberships to social memberships to dining memberships, to a full golf membership, family memberships, individuals. It's all out there for you. They do have an Arthur Hills golf course that is unbelievable. They've also got amenities that are incredible, like the fairway table, where you can find all kinds of casual food and formal food. They've got pickleball. They've got tennis. They've got bocce ball. They've got a swimming pool that's wide open right now for you. They've got a chance for you to get out there right now and take part in all kinds of social events that are going on all the time. That's what Regents Glen is all about. And you can check it out today by giving them a call to 717-747-1919. You can talk to Lacey, who's a general manager, and she'll be glad to show you around. You can also go on the website at regentsglen.com. Don't forget also, the Rebs are going to be back in action tonight. They're playing the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. 6:10 is airtime with Daryl. 6:30 is opening pitch tonight. Good chance to get out here and see the Rebs try to pick it up after that 24-12 loss the other night. And we're going to let that go by. It was not a football score. It was a baseball score. But, every now and then, as I often say in life, there's a butt-whooping due for all of us. It's right around the corner, and we're past that now. The Revs have been playing some great baseball this season, and a chance for you to see them in action tonight. You can go to YorkRevolution.com or stop by the Shipley Energy ticket office right over here and pick up your tickets for tonight. And they are going to be doing it at 6:30 here this evening and throughout the weekend with Southern Maryland. Maybe a great chance for you to buy a ticket for your dad for the upcoming Father's Day this coming Sunday. A great place to get out here and enjoy the day with your dad. What better thing to do? And we go back to the old Field of Dreams. Dad, can I have a catch? Can we have a catch? Huh? Little tear in the eye there. So if you're thinking about what to get Dad and you haven't gotten him a present yet, get on out here to Wellspan Park and take part in Revolution Baseball. It is the hottest ticket in town, and hope you will do that this weekend. Thanks so much to Martin, doing a great job this week. Martin Tate, who sat in for Mark McKenzie all week long. Not a hiccup at all. Mark will be back on Monday, and we're looking forward to being back with you. Have a great weekend, everyone. Hey, dads, happy Father's Day. I'm Gary Sutton. This is the Gary Sutton Show. It is 9 o'clock.